Hello, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 529. This is the Detroit Lions offseason work underway. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast to Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me is my finely coiffed young gentleman, good friend and co-host, Jeff the Riz, Giuseppe Rizdone. Risden, how you doing, brother?
I've never been Italian before. That's kind of cool.
Giuseppe Rizdone.
Yeah, we're doing good. I'm glad we're able to get a live show in. This is action-packed time for you and for me with various things going on. So it's nice to be able to come together and do something.
Do some amazing things. I got to show off one of my AI models today. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we got a lot to talk about. We got a big show. We're going to do our warm-ups as we love to do. Jared Goff's contract. We're also going to talk about the front office shakeup. Broderic Martin, he's a new man. 2024 schedule review and a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Mr. Risden, Mr. Risdone, are you ready to go, my friend?
I can't even do an Italian accent without making myself look like an ass. So I'll just say, let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
Woo, yeah. Man, oh man. You should have gone for it. Just do a little bit of Mario. A little bit of Mario.
Like there are accents I can pull off. Italian is not one of them. Yeah.
We got Jamar Jefferson Risden in the chat. That's a good one. I like that one, Jordy. Hey, Rick, you got a notification. Good to see. All right. We're going to get going here. We're going to do our warm-ups early like we do as we gather around the bonfire for the show and get everyone together. First topic on the warm-ups, we got 25, under 25. What does that mean? 3.
It means we got
4,
a damn good team
5.
Because we got 5 of the guys on the top 25 under 25.
So 20% of PFF has a ranking of the top 25 players under 25 years old, and these Detroit Lions have 20% or 5 of those players on that list, starting at numero uno. That's pretty freaking good. If you want to talk about draft, if you want to talk about building through a draft, and you want to talk about draft capabilities, this is a real good window using PFF's methodology. Whether you like it or not, it's at least a methodology and it's consistent. To take a look at how successful teams have been in the draft, and to be such an overwhelming of 32 teams for one team to have 20% of those 25 guys is a pretty compelling argument for the quality of the drafts that you've had.
Oh, hell yeah. And, having the number 1. And one of the things that struck me about Panay being number 1, he's going into his 4th year and he's still only 23 years old. Like, that's insane to me.
It really is nuts.
But it's true.
It's bananas.
Wild.
Oh man. So here's the thing that I want to bring up. We haven't talked really a whole lot about it, but it was brought up by Holmes early. Their systems for the draft. Remember there was IT and some other systems that they were putting in place. Those systems they said weren't going to be ready until this year's draft. So all of these players that they have, this 5 out of 25 in the top 25 under 25, have been done without the full benefit and power of the Holmes drafting system, the system Lions-O-Matic 3000, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just impressive. It's impressive to be able to do this. So you got Panay Sewell, number 1. Number 6, a young man named Aiden Hutchinson. Number 11, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 19, Sam Laporta, and Ja Gibbs at 21. Pretty sharp, man. Really, really well done. I'll talk a little bit about the lineup in a little bit as well. Really, really good work from this team. And as you see there, all but one of them are on offense. So I'd like to see some push on the D if we could.
Yeah. And
the next
Brian Branch could very well be on it next year.
Yeah.
If Terrion Arnold has the rookie season I think he's capable of, he could be at the bottom of that list next year too.
Getting dizzy again.
So that's they shifted their focus to defense this year in the draft, and they needed to. Yep. We'll see. Shouldn't say their first 2 picks were defense, and they needed it.
Yeah. Combat sack. Anyone else looking forward when Broderick lines up against Giovanni? Forget the Hadron Collider. These two will create the singularity. Yeah.
It's going to be a fun one, man. That's
Broderick is a
I'll tell you
beast,
what,
man.
he looks real good. He looks real good in the pictures.
We'll talk about him. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. They're going into OTAs. I will miss the OTA session that's open to the media this week. I will be there next week. My son's graduating high school at the time that they're running that practice, so I won't be there.
Congratulations! I can't even call him Little Risden. Big Riz.
Yeah. Good kid. Proud of him.
Congratulations, bud. All right, so there you go. 25 under 25. The Lions have 5 of those. 20%. Looking good. Let's get into the next one. Being faves. The Detroit Lions, if you did not know this, my friend, are favored by DraftKings to have almost nearly every game as a win this year. We've got the Cowboys, they say no, at the Packers, at the Texans, and at the 49ers are the 3 games, and all of them are away, by the way.
Yes.
Those are
every home game they are favored.
Yep. Those are the games. There's the 4 games that we are by DraftKings not favored. This is a very strange spot. DraftKings obviously in the business of making money. But the Detroit Lions have not.
Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that.
Printing money almost. Yeah. The Lions and Lions fans have not been in a position like this in as long as I can remember. In my lifetime, maybe even. I don't ever remember a situation where we've been favored in such a vast majority of the games. You're talking 13-4 by their prognostication here. And it just started me thinking, Riz, we're going to have to get used to this, right? Look, this is a team. You look, all the signals are pointing in the right direction. All the signals are pointing in the right direction. This team through the draft has gotten better by all accounts this year. Every team gets better, but this team has gotten across the board better. And with the additions on the defense, the much needed additions on defense, that San Francisco game is completely different, right? Even the couple of games we lost are completely different. If these guys can step up, we the secondary was such a liability last year. The depth and the quality of the players we have this year, it bodes so well for this team. The work that Broderic's put in, again, we'll talk about him, just escalating the team's capabilities. It's all showing in all these things. And as fans, we have to get to this place. There's always going to be, you're going to hear these people. They exist everywhere. They existed during the Patriots dynasty, the naysayers, the doubters. No, Randy Moss is gone. You'll never win another Super Bowl, right? the conversations that go on by the naysayers and the trolls, they'll always exist. But fans of the team, people that exist for the fun of being a fan and the fun of the game, this is truly your time as a Lions fan. This is truly your time. Get used to it. Enjoy it. Again, don't let these people crap on it. Don't let these people troll you. Don't let these people get in your head and start stupid arguments and stuff. Don't even buy into it. It's not worth it. Get used to being a favorite and get used to being a fan of a really good team. All the little brother stuff in the NFC North, that's history, bro. That's history. We are an absolute competitor. We are one of the top teams in the NFL. I don't know if I've ever said that before. At least not like fully meaning it,
and not like waiting to be struck down by the Lord because you're blasphemizing. One other quick thing with the odds: if you give the home team 3 points, and if you take that out of the equation, the only game where the Lions would not be favored on a neutral field is San Francisco.
Yep.
In Week 17 on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, the Cowboys are only a half point.
Terrible scheduling.
Yeah. It's
terrible scheduling. I hate being the last Monday Night Football team. Hate that.
Yeah.
Terrible disadvantage going into Week 18.
Terrible.
If that game means something. It's a brutal disadvantage.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
We'll talk about
it. That means that DraftKings thinks that the only team on the Lions schedule that's better than them is the 49ers. And hey, that checks out. How did last year play?
Yeah.
The only team that was better than us in the NFC last year was the 49ers. We don't play the Chiefs this year, so we don't have to worry about that one. But we're favored against every team. That AFC South is not good. Other than Houston, I think is going to be pretty good. The Colts could be pretty good too.
Yep.
But it's looking good, man.
Yeah.
Chances are there. They're going to need to rack those wins up because the bottom of the NFC North has risen. So we got to stay at the top. We got to stay above that. But I think they've done a very good job of positing themselves to stay there.
Yep. And, there's a lot of people out there that are, like I said, they're going to troll. They're going to say, I've seen it. Oh, the Lions are in such a bad place. There's no way, they're one done. That was their flash or nothing. It's generally like Bears and Packers and Vikings. Get used to it. You're going to get hated. I told you guys this before. Ball walk all over them. Drag that sack across their face. Enjoy your life because this is your time. You've been eating that crap forever, and they're going to try to tear you down. They're going to try to make you doubt. Don't worry about it. Put them in the same bin that you put the Malik Willis truthers. Which brings me up to the next topic. Did you see how I did that?
Whoa, that's a segue right there, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, for those of you who are looking, pretty good chance that Malik Willis is going to get cut this summer, if not sooner. From little birdie out of Tennessee might have whispered that in my ear recently. We'll see.
Not
so you could reunite you can have your dream and have Malik Willis on the Detroit Lions, although I don't think he's better than Nate Sudfeld as the number 3 quarterback. I don't know. Yeah. He's probably, and I do mean this, probably better than Cade Peterson was in the rookie minicamp from Grand Valley State, which is just up the road here. He was okay. I forget the other guy. The other guy was from Northern Iowa, and he was not good. He started out at Michigan State. I think his last name was Day. Oh, I have the roster right here. Allow me to not be lazy.
No. Be lazy.
Quarterback.
We expect nothing else.
Theo Day. Yeah. Wasn't going to happen for Mr. Day, unfortunately. Sadly. Peterson at least showed enough to...
I won't go home. Sorry.
It can be... by the way, our number 4 quarterback last summer, if you might remember, was Adrian Martinez, an undrafted free agent. He is going to be the MVP of the UFL this year for the Birmingham team. Having a great season. So good for him.
Well, let's get into this. We see Soccer Wizard, but we were supposed to get Willis number 2 after all. Malik Willis, punt returner, like Busted Fields. I just there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that said we got to take Malik Willis at 2. You got to have a mobile quarterback, and it's a long time ago, and I'm sure all those people are so much smarter now and have revised their thinking. They've analyzed and seen why they were so wrong on that. But it's 2 things. One, they got to own it. They still got to choke this one back because Malik's going to be out of the league potentially in a week. And you got Jared Goff with the largest Lions contract ever, second to Burrow, and frankly, he's earned it. It's not going to be super long that he's number 2 overall. There's other guys that are going to get paid, but in the moment, right? Just like when Stafford signed his last deal here, it was like outrageous. Oh, it's an overpay, all that, right? And then it was like, oh, he's such a bargain. It's just the way things work. I've done. We'll talk about it in a second. Some work on what the cap and the numbers are and so on. What a great deal for this guy to he earned this. He pulled this up. He put this together. He's getting a lot of money, and I'm really excited to see what he brings forth. But I just those guys on Malik that were so big on that and so adamant. You got to have a mobile quarterback. You got to. If you don't have a mobile quarterback, you can't win in today's league. You can't win. And made the NFC Championship.
By the way, said that in the echo of Tom Brady winning Super Bowls. Might be the most. He's one of the 5 least athletic superstars ever. Peyton Manning, by the way, not an athlete.
Oh, he was such a good runner, man. Oh, no, but the game's evolved. The game's evolved. So Riz, I want you to say something. In your advanced age, you had said you would learn something when you're evaluating a quarterback, and
I did.
it's really smart. I want you to share that with everybody here.
It came up, and it was one of the things. So I'm doing some summer scouting for the quarterback class of 2025. I've watched a couple guys, and one of the things that stands out to me is that the trait that I look for more than anything is how do they handle pressure. And I just recently watched Carson Beck from Georgia. He's pretty good player. I like what I've seen from him. Watch Quinn Ewers from Texas. I put this up on DraftWire today if you want to check it out. And no, hard freaking no on Quinn Ewers in the NFL. The Lions aren't in the market for a quarterback. My draft stuff is independent of my Lions stuff. It's I apply some of the draft stuff to the Lions stuff, but as I wrote, he's not better than Spencer Rattler was this year, and this is a guy who's getting first round run next year. And it's a lot of it. Well, some of it is the fact that he can't throw the ball long, even though he's got a really good arm. It's really weird. It's weird, but he gets impacted by pressure, even when pressure isn't there. And that was one of my big criticisms with Drake May in this past draft. Dude sees ghosts. He's been spooked so many times by the pass rush and, having to run for his life all the time that he creates his own pressure problems. You see that a little bit with Quinn Ewers. You saw it a lot with Drake May. The only guy I've ever seen overcome that is Justin Herbert, who for some reason didn't trust Penei Sewell as his tackle. And now that he's been in the NFL has become this really, really good quarterback, which surprises me a little bit. But if you can't handle pressure and have a plan and execute the plan while you're still under pressure, you're not going to succeed in the NFL. Your odds are really poor. And one of the things that stood out from watching Malik Willis when he was at Liberty is oh my God, if you put even token pressure on this guy, his accuracy gets it was already egregious. It gets how the hell is this guy in college playing football? It was that bad.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you got to Goff is so good at that. He could be better at it, by the way. He does lose a lot of accuracy when he's under pressure, but I think his willingness to bail on plays and understanding how to get out of trouble that way. I'll throw the ball away. I'm going to turf it 10 yards in front of Samuel Porta on a crossing route instead of trying to force it in there and not have that safety undercut it because I'm throwing off. Little things like that. Goff does a very good job of avoiding those. What is it? The 360 no scope, I think is what you said, right?
Yeah, 360.
I got it right.
No
yes, I got a pop culture reference right. The 360 no scope. We've only seen that once or twice out of Goff and haven't seen it in some time. Yeah. He's gotten a lot better at managing his ability to get out of trouble. And I think that's been an important reason why he's getting paid $51.5 million a year, something like that. I don't know.
Can we just for the show stalkers sake, the Malik Willis thing? I want to hit on that just one more time. Can you imagine where we would be? Just folks, seriously, put on your caps and imagine had we drafted Malik. The absolute pressure. I mean, people are all over. Hooker hasn't played a snap in preseason or anywhere else. People are all over. Where's Hooker? What's going on with Hooker? Listen, he's going to be good.
It's true.
Right? Can you imagine the shit show that would have been with Malik here and and what likely would have been the lack of opportunity for Goff to be all the things that Goff has become in Detroit? This whole people are chanting Goff's name away at a Mets game, different away game on a different sport, right? I mean, it's what the hell? This guy's redemption arc is just you couldn't even write a movie about it because it wouldn't be believable, right? But you put something if you would have listened to the Malik Truthers and had him sitting here, where would we be right now as a franchise? And that decision alone. Okay, that series of that thinking and decisions that happened in this front office, especially, if you're honest with yourself, the truthers, right? You've got to sit down and think, I've got to trust Holmes. He's so much smarter about this than I am. I can't criticize. I can have guys I like, and I can say, hey, I think this is the guy, but I'm not the guy to make these decisions. Kamate on the hot take essays because it's just you gotta see. I mean, Holmes did it. Holmes absolutely has done it throughout the draft, not just at the quarterback position, but across the board. But all the crazy pressure that was going on about that at the time, and he absolutely made the right choice to stick with.
I will
Goff,
say
go with HUD,
and I have learned, and other people will back me up on this. Excuse me. The Lions were never, and I do repeat, never in on Malik Willis.
Right.
People misconstrued Mark Brunell, saying Mark Brunell was not talking about Malik Willis when he said he thought he saw a future All-Pro there. That's not. He was not talking about Malik Willis. It was just, that was one of those things where it just sort of got a life of its own, man. It was weird. It was wild. I'm glad we took Hutchinson instead.
Donkey Kong is great. He goes, luckily we have Holmes to stop us fans from drafting Malik and other players. Now at its face, that is really hilarious. That's a great line. But there are GMs that will fold under that kind of public pressure. I'm telling you, absolutely, it happens.
I know firsthand that Jimmy Haslam drafted Johnny Manziel back in the day because a homeless guy told him to when he stopped at the car. He's like, hey, you should draft Johnny football. Like that is a true story. Haslam has acknowledged that like he acknowledged that happened. Like he downplayed what it was. And obviously they did it for other reasons too, but like the limo driver, cake maker, whatever, talking to Brad Holmes is not going to convince Brad Holmes to change his plan. Just because, you know what? Hey, that guy thinks that's a good idea, so I'm going to listen. That's not the process going on here.
I love me the cake maker, by the way. I know who that is. They're awesome.
I know the story too. Hi, Colin.
So really quick before we dive into the contract, Beezer, can we address the people who call the Hooker pick a waste after the Goff extension? Hooker's better than any backup we've had since Brad got here, and we have the security for a full rookie contract. We have to get used to more luxury picks. I'll say,
that's not a luxury pick.
Yes. I think you're right. We haven't seen Hooker. Everything we've seen before he got hurt, absolutely, the guy's a superstar. He would have been, second, third quarterback pick that year if he hadn't got injured. Third. He was absolutely just balling out. Looks like a great player. We haven't seen him. He's had all kinds of time to sit, to get to get up to speed. This is only going to be better for him. Now look, he's a little older, that's fine, but what was it? Sean Hill was the last time we had a really quality backup, and Hooker's I just had to say likely well elevated above where Hill was. This is just such an awesome opportunity for Hooker, and it's awesome for Goff too. This is exactly what we talked about Goff's biggest enemy is in his own head, right? And he's now got a situation with a backup where he's comfortable and he knows he can actually tutelage. He can actually tutor this guy, bring him along, right, and not be terrified he's going to take his job as long as he doesn't get hurt, right? And you have very little control over that. You can't run around scared to get hurt.
You better believe that matters to Jared Goff, because ask him about John Wolford. A guy who was not good at Wake Forest, who wound up starting over him because Sean McVay got tired of Jared Goff and threatened him, and Goff did not handle that well.
Yeah,
I think if you catch Jared Goff on an honest moment, he will tell you he didn't handle it well and could have done a lot better with that. I do think that we've seen a growth in Jared Goff such that even if they're clamoring for some people that we need to start Hooker, we got to see what we got in him because we drafted in the third round. Like, first, I don't understand that, but that's okay. Like, I get.
We're going to talk about the schedule. I'm going to see Hendon Hooker when he starts against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in the first game of the preseason. I can't wait. To see him. I'm going to be there live.
Now remember, did Jared Goff play in the preseason last year? He did not. Nope. Hendon Hooker, we're going to see plenty of him this preseason. And we will live through some bad moments. We will live through some great moments. And we will be hopefully excited that we have the most competent backup quarterback and insurance policy we've lacked for so freaking long. And I say that as someone I generally liked David Blau. I actually really liked Jeff Driscoll for whatever reason. My bad. like, I don't want Nate Sudfeld near an active roster. Tim Boyle, come on, please. Kellen
Tim
Moore,
Boyle.
Brad Kaya. Oh
Boyle.
my God, it was so bad, Chris.
Oh, God.
I love having Hendon Hooker as a number 2 quarterback. And by the way, in all of this, nobody's ever asked Hendon, like, are you upset that you're not the starting quarterback? Like, now some of that's the fact we collectively as a media have not had access to Hendon yet this year. I have a feeling he's not going to say, yeah, man, I should be starting. I want my shot. Like, trade me to the Giants, like some people are suggesting. Like, that's not who he is at all.
No.
Like, I think that's, and again, I think it's just, because we are ignorant. And I don't mean that pejoratively. Like, ignorant is a very useful term. It means that you don't know because you wouldn't know.
You don't know something.
Like,
that's it. It's not because you're dumb. It's not a lack of intelligence.
Right.
It's just you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? For whatever reason. You don't
know.
Yeah,
it's not in your sphere of general knowledge. But my daughter was talking to me about some rap battle that's going on. I'm like, I don't freaking know what this is going on. Like, I'm ignorant of it. Doesn't mean I'm dumb. Doesn't mean I don't.
Allegedly, Drake is a pedophile.
I know who he is. He's the dude who was in those commercials.
He's allegedly.
I remember him. Yeah. I don't know.
I think that's
whatever.
it. I think that's it. There's a lot of that running around right now. A lot of pedophiles running around the world that are getting outed allegedly. So we'll see.
Well, that's
a crazy place.
There's a lot of AI manipulation that goes on too.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It's all nuts, man. This world is crazy.
I'm excited to watch Hendon Hooker prove me right that he's going to be a fantastic backup quarterback. And if something happens to Jared Goff, that I will have full confidence that Hendon Hooker can at least run the same Ben Johnson offense reasonably well enough that we're not going to lose to the Bears or the Vikings or the Bengals or the whoever else is on the schedule, the Jaguars. Like, we can win those games with Hendon Hooker if, by pray to God nothing happens to Jared Goff, but if something does, he bangs his finger on a helmet, as happens, or high ankle sprain and he has to miss 2 or 3 weeks, so he's ready for a playoff run. Like, that will feel better about Hendon Hooker. I don't think it's a wasted pick at all. In fact, I go the opposite direction. I love it. I wish they would have done it earlier. With obviously Hooker wasn't available, but like
he was available 2 rounds earlier. I thought they were going to grab him. I thought they were going to grab him.
I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
And I was on record. I would have taken him at 18.
How the hell fine there. Brad convinces this league to skip guys like Branch, like just to skip these guys for so long so he can get them for cheaper? I have no idea. I have no idea what kind of manifest craziness he has, but he's got something awesome going on. I think the downside to Hendon Hooker is I don't think we're gonna, and I could be wrong, right? But this is Chris on the 20th of May, well before preseason and no training camp. We haven't really seen a whole lot of him. I think Hendon is going to be pretty damn good out there. He's going to look good. He's not going to be playing the number ones. He's like, there's other reasons. He's a good quarterback though. So I don't want to undercut him, but there's a lot of reasons why he's going to look good. Part of that is because of how good he actually is, right? The downside of this is there's going to be a lot of people saying, see, shouldn't have signed Goff. There's going to be these people planting seeds of doubt in the fans, and there's going to be this stupid conversation that is just like taking up headspace and airtime. I mean, I often see the future. This is one of those times. I'm telling you, we're going to hear all these conversations, and I'm telling you right now, Riz, I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to have it. We may mention it, and we're going to pass by, and we're going to keep on going because this is just silliness. It's silliness.
I'll just say this: the one collective group that really bugs me is the people who insisted up, down, left, right that Hendon Hooker was a terrible pick, that he sucks, that he played in a gimmicky offense, that he can't read the full field, that he's too old, that he's never going to be healthy, that he can't throw a short pass accurately enough. And they're the people who are like, I need to see Hendon Hooker because Jared Goff isn't good enough for me. We need a mobile. Like I need my Hooker. Like they're that Venn diagram is just, it needs to be, they are the same people who, like, I had this experience today, so I'm going to do it again. I've said this before. People who walk in the grocery store and you park your cart on one side and you go to the other side and you block the entire freaking aisle. You need to be keyed in the spleen. That's evil. Be better than that. That's the same people who were talking about Hendon Hooker and like hated him as a draft pick, hated him as a prospect, but now they're advocating for him to start over Goff. Don't be those people, please. And if you see them, call them out on it. Call them on their bullshit.
Key them in the spleen.
Please do. Key them in the spleen.
Oh,
man, there was
man.
a woman today that was blocking my Triscuits, man. Oh, man.
Oh, there's a foot through the cart right
she
there.
She was lucky that I'm a man of peace. I'll say that.
All right. Well, let's talk about his contract. I use a little AI to help with this because I don't have the data. I checked with Ash. Ash got frustrated. He had after the fourth report on the contract that he figured out what the terms of the deals and what it really meant for the cap.
By the way,
he gave up.
The contract officially is still not up on the NFLPA's website.
He gave up after that fourth one, so he doesn't have it. So I tried to work it out a little bit, knowing I'm not a cap guru, but I have access to some pretty advanced models. My data doesn't stop in 2021. So I was working with my little AI model. Say, hey, what can we do? Can you work it out? Do some math for me, some other stuff, right? Can you break down the AAV and cap percentage of Jared Goff's contract with the Detroit Lions, right? So the AAV is $53 million, just behind Joe Burrow, it says. Okay. This is now again, this model.
Burrow's at 55. 55.01, I think is the actual number.
So my model didn't stop in 21, and it says it's a 4-year deal worth $212 million, makes him the second highest paid quarterback, AAV. Now, to understand the cap percentage, we need to know the salary cap for the years covered by his contracts. The cap for the 2024 year is 224.8. We can calculate the contract for this year at 12.11% of the 2024 cap, but please note it's going to vary in the future. Well, I said, I know that. Well, can you admit, and then I asked the model, estimate the future cap percentage of Jared Goff's contract based upon the average graded growth of the NFL salary cap over the last 5 years. I stopped after this because it gave me a freaking long ass answer. It did a lot of work here. The problem is it went through the cap, and I'm just going to tell you the increases: 13.6% from 23 to 24, 7.9% from 22 to 23, 14.1% from 21 to 22, a decrease of 7.9% from 20 to 21, and an increase of 5%. Yep, from 19 to 20. So that wrecks the kind of 5-year piece. And so it talks about it's not simply the average of these percentages due to the compounding effect of growth rates, and it gives me the geometric mean. It's going through, tells me exactly what the math problem is. And then it says it's not including 20 and 21, the drop in cap in the calculation, because you can't do a geometric mean directly using that. So it goes through all this work, comes up with the cap percentage in 2026. It says 40 million of 310 million of the cap, of what the cap would be then. And that gives 12.9% cap, but that's not what we saw earlier. So I'm not sure where it's getting that information. It has very recent information, but if I use the AAV, or no, what do we say? You had a number, Riz. I used the AAV, and it was
so. I'm looking at over the cap, which is generally preferred over Spot Track in terms of if you're looking at contracts. It is unofficial, and so this year his base salary is $2.61 million, jumps to $18 million in 2025. 2026. It's a $55 million base salary.
There you go.
With a $20 million guaranteed salary. And the prorated signing bonus is amortized throughout the length of the contract of $14.6 million. So that year, right now, over the cap has him on the ledger for $69.6 million as a cap number, which is 24.5% of the current cap.
Now,
again, Chris, that number is going to go up.
Right. So if I use my average calculation, my geometric means calculation here for the cap, we'll be at 310.3 million for a cap in 26. And if we take that number,
seems ambitious.
Well,
Could be.
but so did
We're getting new TV contracts all the time, so
yeah.
who knows?
That means he's at about 22.4% of the cap as it stands right now. That just tells me that's going to get reworked. It's 100% going to get reworked.
That is one of those. If you look at that $55 million salary, so just to play that out, in 2027 it's a $40 million salary. In 2028, the last year as written, it's a $39 million salary. That's one of those where, and they did with Taylor Decker a couple of years ago. They did it with Stafford a couple of times.
Yep.
Where they convert base salary to bonus. So it lowers the salary. It increases the cap hit for that particular year, but it takes away a lot of the pain. And it allows you, when you do that, you can also tack on a void year or two to spread it out further if you wish to do that. They tend to wish to do that. That's what they do. They love them void years. So,
and what I want to go back really quick, because you whistled past it. What was Jared Goff's cap hit this year?
His cap hit this year is $27.21 million. And a lot of that is the fact that there is a $5 million roster bonus, which I believe he's already qualified for. His guaranteed salary this year is just $7.61 million. So signing him to that big deal, his cap number actually went down this year. It was at $32.3 million. It's now at $27.2 and change.
Yeah.
A little over 10% of the cap figure this year. The
go.
salary cap this year, I believe, is
224.
It's 250. Yeah, but the Lions rolled money over too, and I don't know how much that is off the top of my head. So, that's one of the reasons why they don't spend that money though, so they can roll it over, so they can do things like that. Which is important.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why you're not going to see that. You're not going to see them spend on any free agents to come out, because they do need that rollover money, because next summer they got to sign Hutch. They got to sign Aleem. They got dudes they got to sign. There's hands that are going to be out. And you got to make some tough decisions. Taylor Decker could be needing new money soon. You're going to have to replace Kevin Zeitler at right guard. Now, maybe that's Christian Mahogany. I'm pretty confident it will be, but got to see that play out first. Otherwise, you're going to be shopping again for another veteran guard that's going to cost money. So you need to have that cap money.
It's one of the things
somebody actually asked me on Twitter today.
When you draft well, that's one of the things. You need your cap money because you got to pay the guys you're going to keep. And then the hard part is you're going to let some good guys go. And that's the other part of something Lions fans aren't really used to. They're not really used to that.
You're going to have to pick and choose, and you have to figure out which guy is easier to replace in your system and your scheme, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, whatever. Do I feel like I can get a replacement that's good enough for that? They did that. DeAndre Swift was a good running back. They let him go because they believed that they could prioritize getting somebody that's better than him less expensively than it would have been to keep him. And they did that.
Yep.
They did a very good job at that. Yeah. Jamal Williams was the same. Jamal's agent got in the way, unfortunately for him. It worked out very well for the Lions, but there was some. Remember the trepidation? Oh my God, we're bringing him back. He led the NFL in freaking touchdowns. What are we doing here?
People were freaking out on that Jamal.
Because
that video I dropped, man, is one of our best ones that ever hit the channel. People were freaking out about Jamal. Oh God,
great guy, good player.
Yeah,
but he peaked. You don't pay for people off their peak, man. That's where you get into trouble. That's what has plagued the Raiders organization for years. Oh, bright, shiny object. He just had a career year at 30 years old as a cornerback, and he picked off 9 passes, so we're going to sign him to a massive deal and lock him up. Well, no, he's much more like the guy who was, Jeff Okuda, for lack of a better example, for most of his career, and you're paying him off of a career year. Don't do that.
Right.
This Lions team has done a great job of not doing that. That makes me very happy.
A couple things in the comments really good. Peaceful Tim, I wish I made so much money nobody could figure out how much I made. You and me both, Tim. Nice. Let's see. Beezer, these contracts I feel really signal to guys that will pay you if you show it on the field. Helps to become a destination team. Absolutely. And that was already part of the thing going on here. This was a destination team. And it only gets better. only gets better for these folks. So good work. Jared Goff is signed. We've got him in place. We got Panay. We got St. Brown. Key pieces of this offense not going anywhere. Just love the moves. Love the moves. The Detroit Lions stay on top as they continue to push things forward and move the team in the right direction. So congratulations, Jared. Glad to have you in town. I know you're glad to be here. And
feel good about this team, Chris. It feels good.
I can't help it. I've always been an optimist, but now I really feel assured in my optimism. Like before, I was like, look, I'm optimistic because being angry and sad is no way to go through life. Right? Nobody needs all those shitty chemicals in their stomach. And if anyone's going to do it to you, you could let the Lions do that. If you let a sports team ruin make you a bitter, angry person, you probably need another hobby, man. It's supposed to be for fun. Mm-hmm. But this feels like very solidly placed optimism. It feels like and has shown this last year that this team is well put together from top to bottom, ownership all the way down through the players and the nutrition staff and everybody. I mean, the social media team, right? Other than I think on the schedule release, they missed a little bit. It was a good release. It was good. Don't get it wrong. I just think they took a too narrow view on the demo they hit. It didn't get a wide enough demo shot. Like, because I know you were like, I don't watch TV. I have no idea who these guys are, right?
I still have no clue who those dudes were. Like either one of them, I've never seen them before. So I'm like, should I know who these people are? Like I didn't know. But absent of knowing who they were,
so you're ignorant, right?
I thought it was well done. I was entertained.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, it
was good. Would have helped if I knew who they were, but I don't watch TV. I don't have any clue who those people were.
Just for you, Paul.
For that matter.
Just for you, Paul. Goff is the guy. There you go. Very proudly to say that. Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, so look, I'm picking nits here, right? They took too thin of a demo on that, but I think across the board, even the social media, every piece of this team is just clicking on all cylinders. It's really, really well put together. It's a great time to be a Lions fan. You can look around and you can enjoy it, or you can let other people get in your head. Jared Goff doesn't let anyone get in his head. You shouldn't either. Enjoy this ride. Have a great time, like any Lions fan should right now, because it's a great time to be a Detroit Lion fan. All right.
It's fun to cover a good team.
God, yeah, it really is. All right, we're gonna move on to our next topic here. And it's the Lions front office shakeup. Is it all coming crumbling down, Riz?
Oh, no.
All these great news we were just talking about. And now this is the tip of the iceberg of the future fall apart failures of the Detroit Lions. Whoa, are we as fans doomed to another 50? Sorry, I can't.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so why am I being so silly? Brandon Sosna is no longer in the Lions front office. He was the lead contract negotiator for players, not coaches.
Yes.
And was a great guy.
Yes, and coaches. Throw that in there.
No,
That's
not
important
coaches. I double checked.
Okay.
I double checked. Just players. Because I had a thought process, and right now why I asked and what I was thinking about, right?
Yes.
And so I wanted to confirm that wasn't why it was like an easy way to go, right? Anyway,
yes,
like, back behind the dust.
All right.
Yes. Brandon Sosna is no longer with the Detroit Lions. He's the senior vice president of football operations in Washington for the Commandos. The thing I want to say, Brad said a lot of nice things about him in his time here. And I think the one thing he said about him that I think probably stuck with me the most as far as being the most complimentary was his ability as a communicator. Brad really complimented Brandon's ability as a communicator. And like he said, he was above, I forget, I'm not quoting directly, but better than just about anybody in his ability to communicate. When you're negotiating a contract, negotiations can go a whole number of ways. They can be acrimonious. They can be smooth. You look at how things worked out with Goff, right? You look how all the contract negotiations have really been really smooth. Not a whole lot of. It's not like the UAW and Ford going at it here, right? This is a whole different type of negotiation happening, right? Not being played out in the press, that kind of a thing. What you say is important. How you say it is just as important. There is a lot of ego involved in contract negotiation. There is a lot of ego. And you're talking about this is the time that people can really put their claim for the business and their claim for the player, that stake in the ground, and face it, the stake for the agent as well. That's how they get paid. So it's very interesting, and a lot, I would say most of the ego is driven by agents who pump the players up a lot, right? It is what it is, right? It's not always the case, but I'll just say a lot of times, right? Anyway, this is a guy that's it's a very special skill to be able to do very net positive contract negotiation. Wow. So losing a guy like Brandon Sosna is definitely a net loss for the team.
It is, and that's it is a loss. There's no doubt about it. I'm looking right now at the front office of the Washington Commanders. So their team president is Jason Wright. Their GM is Adam Peters, who they got from the 49ers. Next three people on the list on their org chart here: Brandon Sosna, Senior Vice President of Football Operations, came from the Lions. Next in line, Assistant General Manager, the Ray Agnew role, is Lance Newmark, who was hired from the Lions earlier this offseason. He'd been with the Lions since the Millen administration. Next in line after him, Senior Personnel Exec, this is the John Dorsey role in Detroit, is Martin Mayhew. We all know who he is.
Marty.
They have a very interesting group of people there. And I'm looking at their scouts now, and there's a couple of names on here. I believe one of these people was our national, like the combine scout several years ago. So look, I love that we're losing people out of our front office, not because they suck, but because they're so good that there are too many good people in the Lions front office that they can't keep them all in the jobs that they belong in. Like there's a ceiling because Brad Holmes isn't going anywhere. They just brought dudes in from the outside who are really, really good. And where are the names? Tom Roth is one of them. And he is going to do a lot of college scouting coordination type things. I'm not sure exactly what his title is yet. And then the other one is, what's his name? Where is it here? Dwayne Joseph from the Raiders. He was a pro personnel guy, and Sosna did do some, like, scouting is too strong of a word, like advising on things like that. Like he would throw his 2 cents in, literally 2 cents out of 100 probably. But that's more of a Newmark role, where Newmark sort of did a lot of coordinating. One thing that I learned from somebody in the organization that Sosna did, aside from the contracts, he was sort of the guy who, like, Brad and the front office would have a vision, and he would be the guy who would make sure that the analytics of the vision worked out economically. And that's a job that's completely over my freaking head, so I could be describing it wrong, but that's how it was sort of explained to me yesterday. So that's going to be a tough role to fill. But I'm not upset that we're going to get a chance to try to have somebody else come up and fill it. Like when we talked about if Ben Johnson was going to leave. You know what? They got people in place, and I feel pretty comfortable that they will find a replacement who will do his own thing and do very well with it while incorporating what Brad did. I think that's going to be the case with Brandon Sosna, too. He was a guy who was a fixture on the top execs under 35 years old. He was actually under 30 when he made it the first time. I think it's a Forbes list, I want to say. It might not be Forbes. I don't know. I write too many of these things. but he's
It was
very
a
well
slideshow
regarded,
wherever
and
it
it's a
was.
loss. Yeah, it's a loss, but it's not one that can't be overcome. There are other teams that do a very good job with contracts as well. It's not just a Lions thing. There are other teams that do, in fact, do good things too. I think we do forget that a little bit sometimes when we're getting our chestiness on, but it'll be able to be done.
Yes.
It is a loss though. Like I don't want to like diminish the fact that dude was really, really freaking good at his job. No doubt about it.
Yep. Flounder, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Also, abracadabra to St. Jude, stjude.org/DLP. Still taking donations. Thank you, abracadabra, for the $10. Flounder, I'm grateful we have arrived at the place where we're losing skilled people, and it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the nature of being a good team. Happens with good teams. The next step the next step is, can you hold it together? Can you remain a good team? The thing that I really like is, and that gives me hope for our ability to do that, is how quickly Brad and company turned this team around with a lot of the people there that were here when the team wasn't successful, right? It wasn't necessarily a personnel thing there. It was an operational thing that they need, that was really kind of the problem. Years ago, they got rid of the people wearing the white belt, right? So that's okay. I just had it.
Oh, take me back.
But the ability of this team to be able to build from where it was to where it is now, we lose a few people, I think they're going to be just fine in finding replacements. And now they're finding people that are kind of in their mold, that aren't just good people that happen to be here at the time, right? So I have a belief that this, just based on what we've seen so far, that this is a team that can build a good team. And again, you talk about why and how it operates and how they find people being successful. It is all about, leadership style, how you lead men on the field and in the office, and how you run the organization. And I think there's a completely different feel from the top down, from Sheila on down, as to how this organization runs now compared to 5 years ago. It's a completely different place, and I think that's part of why they found their success. It's one of the things I identified it very, very, very early, but I think that was one of the key pieces that that authenticity, which is one of the key components of that, is one of the things that brings players, coaches. I mean, look, if you're in a place that people aren't who they really are, you're not going to like that place. You're just not going to feel comfortable, because you're going to feel that you have to be something different than you are to fit in. And if you don't feel like you have to fit in, well, then most people aren't in the right place anyway, because you kind of want to fit in with the culture of where you're at. And so to be in a place where Shep, I think, is a great example. He was going to cut his hair, and he was still, don't cut your hair. That's not who you are. By Coach Campbell, right? It is being who you are, and who you are has to be dedicated to the team as a good player, as a good coach. And if that's who you are, you're going to do just fine. And that's one hell of a way to build and run an organization. So I have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to find the right people to keep this going forward.
Yeah. I'll just add one quick thing on that. One quick addition. They will also, if they don't find it right away, they're not going to waste their time trying to make that square peg fit into a round hole. We saw that with Dre Bly. We saw that with Anthony Lynn.
Right.
If the guy ain't working, they're not going to try to make it work. They're going to find somebody who's going to work better. And that is the sign of a very healthy organization. You kill the cancer at its roots. That's what you got to do. And not that those guys were like that. I'm just putting a Megadeth song there. But that's guys are going to respect that when they come in the door. But they're also going to be like, man, am I really the right guy for this job? But I'm taking this, because they're not going to sign me to a 3-year deal and let me live it out if I suck. Like I don't think that Dre Bly expected that it wasn't going to work for him. And it didn't.
The only thing that I'll take away from this, that I will kind of put potential negative spin in, and this is just me, this isn't any inside, this isn't dust or anything else, okay? there's a little bit maybe that's in part of this, and I'll tell you what that is. But the fact that such a great negotiator made his way to Washington, and there's a number of Lions ties now sitting in Washington on a team that's rebuilding that may potentially be changing its front office and the reality of its office and its organization. We'll see. That's yet to be determined. It looks like it looks like they truly want to, though, adjust that to something modern and positive versus the Snyder era. Versus being out
Lake Willis of owners.
Yeah. I think it's the risk is for like a Ben Johnson to get pulled over there. The opportunity is
they tried.
There.
They tried twice.
Yeah. And now they've got some people, they've got the smooth-tongued devil contract negotiator over there, taken as the SVP of football operations. I'm cautious now. It causes me just a little bit in the back. And then knowing that a number of coaches are now working without a 2-year contract, and if Ben goes, he can grab bunches. They talk about punches and bunches in MMA. You can grab bunches of guys because they're not protected. I think they messed up there. I think the Lions messed up there. They built a lot of risk into their product or into their front end, and that's really the one spot where I think the risk sits for this team right now, as far as how they're running it. But overall, I mean, I can't fault them for how they run it. But this one, don't have all the information. I'm critical of it at its face. But like I said, I don't have all the information to understand what the thinking is back there or why. So, we'll see how it plays out. I just think this is a risk they didn't need to take on. So we'll see how that goes. There's that little bit of dust in there.
We will.
All right. Front office shakeup. Lance Newmark, Brandon Susna over to Washington, and Marty's over there still, Mayhewing around.
Marty Herney, by the way, the former Panthers GM. Thank you. It came to me. 2-time Panther GM is also in their front office there too. So they've got an interesting collection of folks there. We do too for them. We have John Dorsey. We have
Here's one. Jeff Hoffman. How do we keep Disner here is a mystery to me. I feel like he could be a GM of a team right now. Think about this though, right? With Ben. Yeah. It's the same thing with Ben, right? Do you really want to be the coach of a team and take on all that extra scrutiny? Like, what is, I think Disner could go out to eat just about anywhere and 99.9% of the people wouldn't know who he is. Holmes doesn't have that luxury, at all, right?
I'm going through my memory bank now. I don't know if I could pick him out. Like, I've met him once or twice. I'm not sure that, like, I'd be like,
so,
yeah, you're right, Chris.
So I'll tell you, there's a number of people like that are kind of in this space. And my wife taught at a school when we lived in California. She actually had Her Majesty Jackson in one of her summer school classes, one of the Jackson family, right? There's a lot of famous people that went to the school for various reasons. I won't get into it, but the one guy there that was the most like, I get it now and I want to be him. He was a producer for a number of the big boom boy bands in the 90s, right? And he still produces music. He's a big time producer. And I'm not going to say his name. No one knows his name really, right? If you're in the industry, you do. But this guy could walk into Gelson's in his underwear and flip flops, and people just say, "Oh, he's just a surfer or California. He's just a hobo. Came in for some food, right?" And they would never know who he is. You could go anywhere, and nobody would know who you are. But you're uncommonly rich, like 10th of a percentile rich, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars rich, and no one knows who you are. That's a hell of a great life. That is a great way to live. A lot of people think
the dream right there.
Yeah, a lot of people think the fame is the thing. No, it's the money without the fame. That's the ideal space. The fame is what causes people so much problem and what makes people want to tear other people down. So there's something to the Disner thing and where he's at and why he would be happy and roll. I'm not sure he is. I don't know that. I haven't talked to him ever, but there's something to be said for people that want to live that life and understand that that's good enough for them. I mean, he's not hurting, right? He's got
we had the same conversation about Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
There are other organizations that are having the same, you just hit it very well, Chris, that not everybody aspires to keep climbing. That maybe, whether it's been the reflection on what's happened over the past few years in our society in general, but people are like, I'm happy here. Why do I want to give that up? Why do I want to risk that?
Yeah.
I think that's something that we collectively as an American society have become more cognizant of, especially the people that are making a lot more money. Do I really need, that much more when I'm really good where I'm at and my family's happy and I'm happy doing what I'm doing and it's successful?
Yep.
Do I really want to give that up? I think that's a thought process that is being used and deployed a lot more than it used to be. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is as it is. So there's a lot to be said for money without fame. And it's not even necessarily climbing, right? There's all kinds of front office positions you can climb to where people will never see you in a public spotlight. You'll never be really on camera. It's a great place. A great place to be.
We've never done media sessions with those guys. We did one with Ray Agnew last week, 11 days ago, whenever the rookie minicamp was. And that's the one time we'll get to talk to Ray Agnew this year. Like that's his one media obligation. Now, I will say, I think he's a guy that we could be losing if he chooses. I won't speak for Ray Agnew. I don't know anything about that, but maybe he might be someone that would look. He might be someone that's perfectly happy where he's at, too. I don't know, but I bet the role that he plays in this organization will make him appealing to other organizations, as we've seen when Newmark goes, when Sosna goes. When the coaches go, Brian Duker did not have to wait long before he found a new job.
Right.
There's good people there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's something to think about, something to keep an eye on. Front office is changing. The times they are changing, but change is the only thing that is guaranteed. And I think this team is well prepared and shown that they can handle this sort of thing. So there you sit. The Flyers front office shakeup has shaken up. Brett, I'll tell you, your info is really scrambled. You get pieces, but not it's scrambled. Okay, so we'll get going to the next piece. And it is on the thumbnail and the main picture on the website. Broderic Martin, and he's a new man. And I don't know if you've all seen him, but look at the thumbnail and you'll see he has dropped some LBs and he is all beast. My guy,
you can look,
is a monster.
Just look at his face. He has lost so much of I don't want to call it baby fat, but just like bulk
baby fat
around his cheeks and neck and behind his ears. Like, he looks like a different person, a better person. It's not that he wasn't like already a physically impressive dude, because he was.
Oh, yeah.
But he has understood what it takes to play in the NFL, and he wasn't good enough last year. Now he knows what he didn't know. Now he knows that there's nutrition involved, that I got to take this weight room crap seriously, that I got to get my body in the best pot. Like, I thought I was in good shape. Nope. And give the Lions training staff some credit on this for helping him. But they saw when they drafted him out of Western Kentucky as a relative unknown, even amongst draftniks, like they saw that this guy will get it, that he's going to work. And you know what? He's put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
He looks really good physically. It can't hurt his game at all. I'm excited to see what he offers once the pads come on and once he's allowed to hit people. Because he's always had the mentality. Now he's got the body to do it. Excuse me.
Yeah. I just think look, I don't say this in a derogatory or as a pejorative, but I call it the baby fat. I talked about it with Aiden Hutchinson. Oh man, the butt hurt that spun out of that. But he did. He was a rookie. He didn't have the benefit of NFL strength conditioning and nutrition. And you knew that he was going to lose. I mean, I don't have the benefit of it either. God, I wish I did. You knew he was going to trim down and become that and bulk up. It happens to everybody that's going to put some time in. And you look what Broderic did in a year from that his freshman year, if you will, his draft year to now, and you just see what kind of a beast he's become. I'm really excited because I think what we've seen from Broderic, that kind of work that he's put in, is very indicative of the interview we had with him last year. You're going to get a guy that never gives up, but I think this whole year people are like, hey, we're not seeing Broderic, we're not seeing him out there. I think this was the change that the team wanted from him. What the plan was for him to grow. There's one thing Brad doesn't mind doing is sitting on guys, right, Levi? Right, Iffy? Right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't mind sitting on guys he knows have what he needs, right?
Yep.
He doesn't mind sitting on them, growing them, developing them, and helping them be the right kind of player for the Lions. I got a sense that what we see from Broderick, that immense body change that's happened over the course of the last year, is part of the plan. And I think we're going to see some heightened reps. I think that's why we didn't see a whole lot of work on edge and inside line. I mean, I think there's a reason that they've spent so much in the secondary and not so much on the line as far as capital and building this out this year.
And so what's one of the big criticisms of Ennis Rakestraw right now? He's skinny as hell. Think that might change in a year? I said it. I don't expect him to play a lot this year. Between the offseason surgeries and just the jump that he's making and the style of play that he has to adapt to.
Mm-hmm.
But 2025, he'll be starting out there. And I bet he's going to be up to 190-ish. Instead of the 183-ish that he's at right now. I'm looking right now to see if there's
a different kind of 190.
Martin's dimensions.
Even if he stayed at 183 in a year, his 183 is going to be a completely different 183.
Yeah,
right?
It'll look better.
Yeah. It's all protein, right? It's all lean muscle mass. And so he gets up to 190-ish. That's all going to be part of that transformation. He's going to be a bulky 190 compared to what he looks like now. That's like, like Broderic. I don't know.
He will max out what his frame can hold.
Yeah.
And the Lions will do it. The Lions do a very good job of understanding that. That's what they deserve a lot of credit for their strength and conditioning program and the nutritional staff and their, what is it, kinesiology, whatever that.
Yeah, look at you.
Chris does. But they have a really good understanding of not Dan Campbell talks about all the time. We go red line, we push it to the red line, then we go back to green. Like they do a great job with that.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily about injury so much. It's about maximizing the players' apostrophe after the S bodies for football maximization. They do a great job with that. Great job at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm impressed with. I mean, the development of players both physically and from a skills perspective has been just incredible from this coaching staff and nutrition staff, and they do such an amazing work comparatively to what this team used to do. Again, we talk. I'm banging this drum today, but top to bottom, this organization is miles ahead of where it was 4 years ago. Miles.
Doing it right, man.
God, man.
It's crazy. Crazy that we're covering a good football team. And we believe that it's going to stay a good football team for a long time. As I was on the Huge show the other day. I told Huge again. The 2023 Detroit Lions probably going to be the worst collective roster that this organization will have over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. That doesn't mean that they're going to be as successful in wins and losses because there's a lot of variables to go into that. But in terms of like top to bottom roster, this year's better than last year's. Like no no doubt about that. They trimmed a lot of fat off and roster fat.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, think about this. Remember in 2017 going to training camp, and it's like, who's your training camp darling? And it would be some long shot, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this guy played at Albion. Hey,
Tom Kennedy.
Greenwood. Yeah. Like, we're not going to have
Andrew
those.
Peacock.
Yeah. The flu. He's always coming around.
Oh my God.
There's no vaccination for that.
Yeah.
But it was really something.
Flu too.
Yeah. No, I'm not knocking him. He's just
He was a good dude.
Story. Yeah.
He was a real good dude.
Yeah. But like these guys that should never really have made an NFL roster were like had a shot, and this whole kind of idea of your camp darling right now is only gonna be what, a Division I quality player. I mean, not only, but you're gonna hard pressed to find these kind of pop up guys. You know what I mean?
Look at last year. Look at a couple of the guys from last year. Trevor Nowaski, Saginaw Valley State, Canton, Michigan. He has a shot at starting for the Arizona Cardinals at off-ball linebacker this year.
Yeah.
He could not make the Lions last year. Starling Thomas is a starting cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals as they enter the on-field portion of their offseason activities. I don't know if he's going to stay there. He couldn't make the Lions last year either.
Right. He was one of those darlings, right?
He was a camp darling, and
Yep.
he was good.
Yep.
They chose Stephen Gilmore because I think Gilmore was probably a little bit better against the run.
Yep.
They're both super skinny. That seems to be one of the things that's coming out with defensive backs in general, is that they're much lighter than they used to be. It used to be that those guys would always wind up playing wide receiver, and now that there's so many skinny wide receivers, like, okay, we can draft the Ennis Rakestraws of the world, the Starling Thomas at 168 pounds. He has a role because he's not going to get blown away by, like, not every wide receiver is DK Metcalf or Mike Evans or Kenny Galladay even.
Right.
Like those that era of the giant wide receivers has kind of quietly gone away a little bit.
Until
and people want the yards after the catch guys were the guys who were in demand this season.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Romo Tunzi, Malik Neighbors. Those guys are like, they're not small.
Isn't there a courtroom where Marvin Harrison Jr. is in demand too?
That's an interesting one that I just poked my head into that like an hour before we went on the air. I'm like, I got Andrew Brandt's the sports business guy. He has a email list which I'm on. I subscribe to it, and I enjoyed going down that rabbit hole a little bit. That's a very interesting one, and I wonder what sort of ramifications will happen from that. I think he's somewhat. We're going off on a tangent here. I think he's a somewhat special case because his dad is a Hall of Famer, and he knew that he didn't have to deal with the BS. But there's some interesting precedents being set by some guys coming into the league. Caleb Williams is another one.
Yep.
Bryce Young was another one.
Yep.
The culture of player that's entering the league is changing, and I don't know if it's going to be for the good or the bad, but
I think the Lions are ahead of it.
It's changing.
Like,
yes, I agree.
Right. I don't know that the Lions
think they got a guy
Harrison
this year.
I don't know that they take him if he's available. I honestly don't. I'm not saying they wouldn't, but that's one of those ones that, like, Brad's probably like, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah. Yeah, because clearly incredibly talented player, but there's some things there that make you wonder.
Is it ball?
Like, okay.
Does he love ball?
Like, yeah.
Is it something else?
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, but we'll find out. I think he's going to be a damn good player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he gets
when you can filter those things out, though, and I think the Lions do a great job of that. Remember Kayvon Thibodeau?
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of people. I got in trouble for calling out somebody for stating that they didn't need to even have no mock needed, no train, none of that needed. We're drafting him. No, didn't work out that way. And one of the reasons was because he had a different kind of personality. And I don't, again, this is not judgmental, but the other night he was at a charity softball game, just smoking a cigar while he was playing softball in a charity softball game. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, I remember when I was in college in intramural football, and there was a team that was kicking our ass, and the dude was drinking a beer between snaps. I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, you're better than me. Cool. But like, there's a professionalism that goes like, I don't know about that, man. And that I don't think the Lions would find that appealing. Is the long and the short of it.
Yep. So there you go.
And
I think also the to go back to the big, tall wide receiver. Once everybody gets their rake straws, that guy will be the guy that's back.
He'll come back.
Vogue.
Yeah,
he'll be back in vogue. That's back. So.
Oh yeah, that's like right now the linebackers, they've gotten smaller and faster.
Yeah.
And what happens? The Derrick Henrys, the Nick Chubbs of the world, they start to load up, and you get power run games like the Lions have with Penei Sewell firing up your ass, Frank Ragnow pancaking your sorry ass on the ground.
And you're going to see tight ends that look like Penei.
225-pound converted safety. Yeah.
You're going to see tight ends that look like Penei too, because then the linebacker, he's a little small guy. Yeah, you got a hold of me, but you're a mosquito. Yeah. Off you go. I'm running.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And that's that. And then that cycle will come, and all of a sudden we start wanting more of the Trey Flowers and Jared Davises of the world, that size of player. But right now, like everybody loved Devin White 2 years ago. Now the fact that he has no physical strength at all to tackle anybody is really exacerbated because of all the power run games.
Yep.
That if you go back in time, there's a fascinating, and I forget where I read it. There's a great book that talked about how Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells, when Belichick was working under Parcells running the Giants, they switched to the 3-4 defense because there were all these giant running backs, and everybody was trying to like get that, and they found a way to stop that by having that extra linebacker who had more size, guys like Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, guys who could flatten your ass, and having the giant immobile dudes up front to soak up two blockers so they couldn't get out. Like, that's how football changes in the cycles with it. And if you're on the cutting edge of that, and I think the Lions are certainly offensively with the move towards, we don't necessarily want to get a 20-yard pass down the field. We're going to throw it 12 and run 8. That's what the NFL has become very much right now on offense. That's one of the reasons why the receivers went in the order that they did. I like being on the forefront of that instead of chasing that. That's kind of cool. It doesn't always work. Like, sometimes you can overshoot it or be too early. But, man, and to go back into time with one of my favorites, Dan Marino. One of the reasons he was fantastic was because the Miami Dolphins did a crazy thing in an era where everybody had two cornerbacks on the outside and two safeties split deep. They started a slot receiver full time, and all of a sudden, your safety has to cover him or your linebacker has to cover him. And oh my God, those guys can't do that.
Nope.
And then the league did catch up to that. And then you started seeing the predomination of a nickel back. Yep. Like it's all cyclical, man. It's really cool. I would love to do a long-term thing on that.
That was for you, Chris.
Yes,
Spooner.
It was. Love you, Spoon.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We got another topic we got to get to here. No, it's good. No, it was good. I've never heard you say anything nice about Dan Marino before. Never, ever once. And that was the nicest thing I've ever heard you say.
Dan Marino was a very good quarterback. There's no doubt about that. If I needed a guy to throw a pass, he's in my top 3. If I need a guy to lead my team, not so much.
All right. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions 2024 schedule. Some of you saw that it was leaking away ahead of time. Those in the Slack saw it really early. Those that spy.
By the way, the leaks that it came out on it were darn near 100% accurate.
Yeah. Oh. They were pretty good. Yeah. So we got the schedule here. We're gonna do some talking about this because there's something pretty interesting. Let me get this pulled up here. We're just gonna analyze it. There we go. We're gonna analyze it a little bit. We're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna go ahead and do our prediction. And
schedule game time.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get this marked down here for us. Let's see. I'll do it on the Doing the remarkable, so I have it digitally for the future.
Sorry, my
all right, Giggles, what's going on over there?
Just some interesting texts are coming in
Oh,
outside, not related to the podcast, but
textically.
Okay,
Here we go.
Yeah, fun.
Okay, we're gonna do our scheduled conversation right now. First and foremost, the first game of the season is a preseason game, and it happens to be in New York, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey.
No date on that yet.
I shall be there. It says August 11th. What I'm seeing. But it could be August 8th through 10th. August 8th through 10th, be, somewhere in there. But I see August 11th is the time they've got it picked. But
they're figure on joint practices in New York this year with the Giants.
Yeah, they did it last year.
I'll be going to New York too.
Yay! They did it last year in Detroit. So we've got the. I can't wait. My friends got season tickets. I'm going to sit down. They got a huge pregame they do, like big time. Like it's pretty good. I'm going to sit down, have a good time, and watch Hendon Hooker get his first time in the NFL on the field. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. So
always good to see a Hooker's first time.
Yeah. The rest of the preseason, who cares, right? It's the preseason. So you got Kansas City Chiefs, and then one game in Detroit at Ford Field. The Pittsburgh Steelers is the last preseason game of the early season, whatever, on the 25th of August, and then we get into the real stuff where it matters. Is there anything else we really want to talk about the preseason, Riz?
Do not expect joint practices with the Steelers. They're not simpatico with that.
They did that back when Antonio Brown played for them, way back in the early Quinn Trisha years. I think the first year they did a joint practice with them.
They are an organization that. What is going on? Sorry, there's a lot going on right now in the world around me. I apologize. It's okay. I'm hopeful that we'll get at least like what the Jaguars did last year, where they came in a couple days early and they did run-throughs. Basically, it was like playing the preseason game before they played it, which was kind of neat.
Yeah. All right, week 1, Los Angeles Rams at Ford Field. Sunday Night Football on NBC to open the season for the Detroit Lions. Holy cow. Let's just talk about this. Let's just take a broader view before we start talking about predictions and stuff. What a great way to open. And the entirety of the schedule, there's only 6 1:00 games in the whole season. Only 6. I'm going to tell you, my first reaction is, God damn it, because it really sucks for post-game shows. The 1:00 games are ideal for post-game shows. I'm just telling you right now. This wrecks work, like travel, like all this stuff that I got going on. Damn it. But on the other side, you're a good fucking team if you're getting that. If you only got 6 1:00 games and you're in the NFC North, that's really damn good. That is really, really damn good. So
America loves the Lions.
They do. They really do. This is remember when Seattle won it all? Like instantly everyone hated them, right? And they rocketed up very fast, right?
Yes, they did.
Right now, the Lions are that there's this. I hate to say this, but it's this little bit of a lovable loser still kind of exists, right? Hey, they're the underdog. They haven't done it for so long, and so you get this circle of people that love it. You get a circle of people that are bandwagon jumpers. There's a lot, and this is always fun. This is something that you guys are going to be surprised about. There's a whole lot of kids out there that are looking at the Lions around the country that are going to fall in love with this team because of Jared Goff, because of Ja Gibbs, because of Laporta. They're going to see these players, and they're going to sell jerseys all over. And you're going to have Lions. You're minting more Lions fans around this country right now than you have in ages. And you're going to go around. You're going to be in friggin' Dubuque, Iowa, and see someone wear a Lions jersey, be like, "What?" And it won't be a unicorn. It's gonna be pretty fun. This is gonna be a good time. So, a lot of great primetime games for the Lions this year. Let's just walk through them first and talk about what it looks like. You got a Sunday game Sunday night. Then the next week it's 1 o'clock. It's one of your 1 o'clock games. Then the week after it's another one, but it's a 4 o'clock game out west. So think about this as you're going out west to start. Not a big problem with the travel for the first game of the season. That's not going to impact you. Then you're back. Sorry, let me rephrase. You're not out west. You're at home. At home, and the West team's coming out to you. It's a Sunday night game. Cool. Then you're at home again for a 1 o'clock game. You're in your groove. Then you're going out west for a 4 o'clock game. 4 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna do all the times in Eastern. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I think so, Michelle from the chat. So then, so you got the Rams, Tampa, both at home, and then you head out to the Cardinals, and then you have the Seahawks at home. You've got 3 out of your first 4 games at home, and then you get a bye week. I don't want to say that's cush, but that's a pretty cush ride right there for the first 5 weeks of the season.
Works for me.
Yeah. Bye week, week 5, though.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. It's
the entire division should be on bye at the same time.
Yeah.
Don't know why they haven't done that yet.
Yeah. It's a bummer. Because look, boy, I hope we get injured early so we have that bye week to heal. I don't know what, it's like, I don't know what you even doing with that. It just sucks where it falls. Oh. Everything can't be perfect.
It does.
But it sucks.
It does. It's one of those things where, like, you'll be fresh going in. The one good thing about it is that they come out of that and they do go into on the road quite a bit.
Twice
right after the bye.
Yeah. 4 out of 5 games and on the road.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 on the road after that. At least they'll be somewhat fresh going into that. I guess that's a bright side.
6 out of 8 on the road.
Yeah, their road games are very concentrated in the middle of the schedule.
Yeah, October, November, shite load on the road. So
none of them outside until
we'll talk about that. Yeah. So okay, bye week. Then they're at Dallas and then at Minnesota. Afternoon game, a 1 o'clock game against Minnesota. So nothing too egregious there. Then they're home for Tennessee with a 1 o'clock game, and they're at Lambeau for a 4 o'clock game. And then they're at Houston for an 8:20 Sunday night game. So even though they're traveling a lot here, these aren't bad times or bad distances. The Lions, I think, are 8th overall as far as mileage in the NFL for traveling this year. So that's not too bad.
I believe so.
Top 25% of the easiest travel distances. So that's nice. But as someone who travels, you still spend time at the airport, both sides. It's still a pain in the ass to do all the shit around traveling, but is what it is. All right. Then they have Jacksonville, 1 o'clock. Then they're at Indy at 1 o'clock. That's a little trip. That's no biggie. Then the Bears at home at 12:30 on the Turkey Day for the Festival of Turks. Then we have the Packers at home. So there's 2 home in a row. You got a Thursday, and that's a Thursday night game as well. So 2 Thursdays in a row, which I don't know if I want to call it a bye week, but that just does give you a little bit more rest. You get that extra long week the short week to the Thursday, and then you get a whole week to the next Thursday, and then you get a long week until the game after that on Sunday. And after the Thursday, the game on Sunday is even a 4 o'clock game at home. So all 3 of those games from Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving, and then the Buffalo game, which I'm going to be at. Love you, say, man. Nice. Those are actually a decent stretch. I don't want to call it a bye week, but you get some extra time in there. You get some extra time near the end of the season to heal up, which I'm guarantee will be well loved, much needed.
Yep.
All right, then, God, I can't wait to go to that Buffalo game. At Chicago. This is the one potentially cold game that the Lions are going to play, like egregiously cold, right? The only other outdoor game that could be cool is November 3rd at Lambeau, but it's not that cold generally the 3rd of November still, right? I mean, it could be, but the chances aren't that high that it's going to be 30 below frozen tundra kind of stuff. The Lions have a fantastic season for where the outdoor games and the time of the year. It's the one game right before Christmas, 1:00 at Soldier Field. That could be a little bit of a bummer there. Then at San Fran outside, but San Fran's always 50 degrees, right? It's always whatever it is. It's an 8:15 game, yeah. And then
there's not wildfires this year.
Then the Vikings at home rounds out on January 5th or January 4th, rounds out the season. So overall, I like
it'll be the 5th because they're playing on Monday night.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yep.
No, not on. Oh, maybe no. It's Sunday the 5th or Saturday the 4th. There's no
yeah.
Monday night
All the games in Week 18 are on Sunday the 5th.
Yeah.
And they're all
aren't they on the 4th too? Saturday and Sunday.
I don't think so. I think they're all on the 5th that week.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Either way,
it might be a game. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Either way,
Sorry.
They close at home against the Vikings in a game that's hopefully meaningless.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. And there
It'd
you
be
go.
Nice.
Overall, the way the schedule falls, other than the bye week, I think the NFL did a lot of favors to the Lions this year.
See, when I first sat down and did this, I liked opening at home. I don't like that run of 6 road dates in 8 weeks, though. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
But then you do get, and then 2 of the last 3 being on the road, I don't care for that either. Like, I wish they would have interspersed the road dates a little bit more. But the nice thing is you do get a couple of legitimate home stands where you can build some momentum and rest at home. And you're at home for 2 weeks in your own bed. You know, you're in your own facilities. That does help.
Yeah.
So, it all balances out.
Jameson Hennessy with a really good question. Should Taylor start reporting now for the Dallas game? Wouldn't be bad. I'd send a letter to the officials just to let them know I'm reporting.
Telling you what, that's the easiest loss on the schedule to predict. And it won't have anything to do with what happens on the field.
Yeah. 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 Put your money down now. Although we walk away from a win there, that really will tell you the tide has turned in the
and that's the
NFL.
first game after the bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't we play him after the bye this year? Wasn't that right after the bye? I'm pulling that out of my ass.
I don't remember.
For some reason that hits like it did.
Just a blur.
Well, with that blur, let's go back. Let's talk about predictions. Win and loss.
All right.
And we've got, let's see. We got to change this real quick. Label it May predictions.
May.
And we got Riz and Chris. That's our names, right? Okay, Riz. We got the
allegedly
Ford Field 8:20 Sunday Night Football to open the season, because if he can't do it on Thursday beating the Chiefs, why not smack up a Stafford at Ford Field on Sunday night to open the season for the first big Sunday opener? That's where I'm going. I'm going right away, just picking my win. What do you got for the Lions that week, my friend, against the Ramillos?
I have a win that week as well.
Good news. All right, next week, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Ford Field, fielding the Pirate and heading to set sail to St. Petersburg. I'll be drinking Rum Runners. What do you got, my friend, for the Tampa Bay?
That sounds good. Rum Runner sounds good.
Oh, man.
I have them losing this game. It's just one of those random ones where they, the buzz of coming off Sunday night. And Tampa's a good football team. I mean, they won a playoff game last year. Not gonna.
Baker's gonna be mad, right? He's looking for his revenge.
He does play well when he's angry too. Yeah. But they can do some things to the Lions that the Lions aren't super equipped to. Now, I will say, Carlton Davis revenge game. So that's gonna be fun. This is one of the. I think there was 5 games that I'm like, either team can win this game and nobody would be surprised. This is one of those.
Got it.
I think that this one's going to go to Tampa Bay. But Lions could absolutely win this.
Tampa Bay, okie dokie. I give the win to the Detroit Lions, my friend.
All right.
I am going to go with that. All right, let's go on to the next one. Sorry, Jameson. I wonder if Kelly will accuse us of booing the girls again. Why not just boo the girls so Kelly has a reason to do it? All right, we move on to play the Arizona
Why would she
Cardinals.
come? That's what I like. If you know it's like, why are you there? She has no freaking common sense at all.
She's got to have something to talk about.
You can avoid the situation really easily, Kelly. It's not difficult. You just don't have to go. Not that hard.
Yeah, well, read the room. All right. At the Arizona Cardinals, it's an out west, 4:00 game. First travel game of the year. Sunday. Probably be a nice day. Probably hot, actually, and dry. What do you got against the Arizona Cardinals?
I got the Lions winning that one.
Yeah, so do I. All right, moving on. Seattle Seahawks at Ford Field at the end of September 30th. I'll just say, this is one, the Seahawks are the nemesis of the Detroit Lions. For some reason, they have the Lions number, and it's been painful. From the batted ball on down, it's been absolutely painful. Oh, Detroit fan, man. Kids will never be booed like Stafford's kids in week 1. It's so funny to me. I don't know why. I'm a terrible person.
Just stay home, Kelly. It's not that hard. Good Lord. What a freaking drama queen.
All right. What do you have for the Seahawks, Mr. Risden?
She annoys the piss out of me.
Yeah. Agree.
I have a loss.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have the Lions 4-0 at this point because
I'm at 2-2.
They no longer have Pete Carroll in Seattle, and the times they are changing over there, and I think that he was the kryptonite. Week 5. Who do you have? Who went in the bye week? Let's just go right to Dallas. All right, Lions played Dallas. Sorry, a little bit.
That's good.
I'm gonna say Dallas is a
No, you know what? I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my. I do have the Lions beating the Seahawks. I'm reading my thing on Lions Wire right now. I did this last week. I win 3-1 entering the bye week.
Okay.
So the Seahawks, by the way, have won 9 of the last 10 meetings, including the last 6.
Yeah.
I have the Lions winning this one.
Okay.
I'm at 3-1. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I'm at 4-0. We meet the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas the week after the bye, 4:05 on Fox, October 13th. Riz, where do you have us?
The Lions will win the game, but get in the L by some weird freaking, I don't even know.
You call it a
I gotta
scoreboard L?
concoct different ways that they can have this game stolen from them.
You're gonna have a scoreboard L, but a moral victory. Is that what I heard?
No, it won't be a moral victory because we're better than them.
Okay. So you get a scoreboard L.
Earlier you said that every team gets better in the offseason. I disagree. The Dallas Cowboys are one of 2 teams on the schedule that got worse from last year. But that's not going to mean anything because the refs will not let them lose. So I have the Lions losing this game and being 3-2. Okay. And yes, I'm salty and bitter about that. Sorry.
I have the Detroit Lions going 5-0 after Dallas because they beat Dallas after last year. This is one very much like Baker Mayfield might be angry on week 2. I think Dan Campbell wants to murder somebody in Arlington, Texas. And he's going to make the Cowboys the victim of this killing spree that he's going to go on. He wants to own Texas. He was from Texas. He's going to ball drag the Cowboys and put on a 10-gallon hat and strut out of there when he's done. Keep that one under your Stetson. All right. So after the Dallas Cowboys, we'll move on to at the Minnesota Vikings. So we got to bye week. Then we're our second away game in Minnesota, 1:00 on Fox. What do you think they do against the Minnesota Vikings?
I have a loss here because I think Minnesota, this is their Super Bowl game, and they're also coming off of a bye week. after they played in London the week before that. So they get super bye here. So I think the Minnesota Vikings are the last place team in the NFC North. Doesn't mean that they can't pull off the upset. So I got 3-3 right now for the Lions.
I too give the Lions their first loss at Minnesota after their emotional victory over the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas, and the dirtbag referees.
Makes sense.
It's the little bit of a hangover helper that comes in there at Minnesota, and I think some people might be a little frustrated with me with my division record here, but it's a tough division, probably one of the best, if not the best division in the NFL. Right? I
would agree. Either that or the AFC North, or the two Norths are the strongest divisions.
Yep,
I think.
Yep.
NFC West won't be bad. We'll see.
All right, we move on after the Minnesota Vikings, the Tennessee Twatons. And what do you have at home? 1 p.m. on Fox, October 27th, just before Halloween.
I'm going to read what I wrote here for Lions Wire. Not so fun fact. The Lions have never beaten the Titans since the franchise relocated from Houston. It's a true story. There's a first time for everything. Lions win.
All right. I too have a win here. It's the bounce back after the Panic at the Disco, or Panic at the U.S. Bank Stadium. The Titans will dress up as Malik Willis for Halloween and get spanked.
He could be on the Lions practice squad by then.
That's true.
Panic at the Disco is a band, right?
Yeah.
Like they had the songs with like the super long titles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gotta get my culture references.
Malik Willis brings the playbook to Detroit with him. We spank the Titans at Ford Field.
They do have a new coach. We have their defensive line coach though, so
yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, and we got the better package there.
Terrell Williams, take that.
November 3rd, 2 days after All Saints Day, after we're healed from the evils of Halloween, and we're in the coldest game, the second coldest game of the year at Lambeau Field, the muddy tundra, 4:05. So the field's had a little bit of time to warm up. What do you say? Where do you have the Lions on this one, buddy?
I have them winning in Green Bay. And one of the reasons is because the Packers are coming on a short week from on the road, and then the next week is their bye week. So they're going to be like, just let's get to okay, you know what? We're down 30-11. Let's just we'll say we're done. And so I got the Lions winning this one.
And the Lions losing.
Okay.
Sorry, it's
so
it's
I'm at 5-3. Where are you at? You're at 6-2, and I'm at 5-3.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So then we go on to the Houston Texans on the 10th of September in Energy Stadium,
November.
Texas. Yeah,
November.
That's what I meant. November starts with an N, not an S.
I'll be at this game.
Will you? Well,
Thank
congratulations.
you to the Houston Texans media department for formally inviting me and offering to credential me. I don't need it because the Lions do, but thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Texans organization, first class people in their. We talk about Eamon and his crew with the Lions. Their Texans counterparts are very, very good too. Yeah. Nothing but love for them.
There you go. All right, let me get you really quick. Got a question from the Detroit fan man. What's the early risen impression of Terrell Williams? Should my defensive line expectations be impacted by his involvement?
He will maximize what can be done with those guys. He is going to be a guy. There's not a lot that you can do with Hutch other than Hutch unleashing him. I think he's going to be, if you're ever going to get anything out of Levi or Pascal or get Kaminsky back to where he was, this is the guy who's going to make that happen.
Yep. WMW2, if I make it to Houston, can we grab a drink, Jeff? You will be hard-pressed not to get Jeff to have a drink with you.
Oppositos across 610 from Reliant Stadium. I will be there for all of my meals when I'm in Houston, except for one trip to Freebird's Burritos, which is so much better than Chipotle or Qdoba. I miss it.
Yeah. Chipotle's gone to shit. I miss Freebirds too, but I had the California version. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. They are out there. Freebirds is the greatest, is it not?
Santa Barbara.
They're nowhere near here.
Oh, they're
fantastic.
Chipotle's gone to shit, man. I don't even want to.
Yes,
I don't want to rant. I don't want to rant.
The one off
chicken,
of Haggerty in Ann Arbor Road in Canton, Michigan, that place sucks, man.
If I order double chicken, I want double freaking chicken. I don't want triple rice. It's happened 3 times in a row. Fuck you, Chipotle. All right. Houston Texans. I want the protein, baby. We are in Houston at Energy Stadium.
Give me my gluten.
8:20 p.m. What do you got for us, brother? This is a tough team.
I have us losing because I don't think we match up X's and O's with them very well. Our offense will be able to do things, but they are a team that runs an offense similar to us. We tend to have trouble defending teams like that.
Yep.
Plus, I think C.J. Stroud's going to be an NFL MVP this year. So I got us losing this one.
There you go. Well, here we are. Somebody pulled out the Lashik album, dropped the needle, and we're playing Freak Out. Oh, Freak Out.
Rodgers.
We got another loss. That's 2 in a row. Everyone's saying Hendon Hooker, I told you he should have started. I told you Hendon Hooker should be starting.
No.
It's the full meltdown because we've had 2 losses in a row and the trolls are back. You're overpaying for Goff. Oh my God. This is the week that's going to be the most painful week because it was the 2nd loss in a row is my prediction after the Houston Texans.
By the way, one other thing with that, the Texans are coming off. They play on Thursday night the week before, so they get some extra rest going into this game as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
All right, Jacksonville Jaguars at Ford Field on the 17th of November. What do you got for us?
Win. Dominant win. Maybe the most dominant win on the schedule, as we did 2 years ago.
Oof.
I fondly remember that game. That was the game.
Fondle?
I think it was 41-10, I want to say. That was the game where I'm like, okay, you know what? We've had a bad year heretofore. From now on, we're a good football team. And since then, we've been a good football team. That was like the eye-opening moment for me where I truly believed. And
why didn't you use you started out with heretofore. You had me at heretofore, and you missed your opportunity for forthwith.
Well, because it's 9:30 and I go to bed now, so my brain cells were dead.
Henceforth and forthwith. Okay, just Jacksonville Jaguars. I will also go with a big win for the Detroit Lions.
We go another 10 minutes. I'm about to be snoring here.
I will work at getting us through. The Indianapolis Colts at Indianapolis indoors, 1:00 p.m. Nice little short trip for this one. After what was been a tough run of travel. Hopefully Anthony Richardson holds up. We get to see our Florida boy play. What do you have as a winner or loss for the Detroit Lions here, my friend?
I got a win. I like the way we match up against them. So that's a good football team, but they don't match up well against what we do well.
That is
at least they have it
correct.
On paper. We'll see what happens when it comes to this game's in November, right? Yeah. It's the week before Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yep.
I like the Lions here in Indy a lot. Good chance I'll go to that game too, because I live about as close to Ford Field as I do to Indianapolis. So got to make the trip down for that one.
All right, we move on now. Chicago Bears come to Ford Field for Thanksgiving. What do you feel? Is the tryptophan taken over, or do the boys beat those Bears? Man or bear?
Caleb Williams is going to get humiliated on national television. I'm here for it.
Me too, my friend.
I have a win there.
I have a win on Thanksgiving, and I just love that this is what happens to a rookie on the big stage like this with Caleb and Odunze, right? Odunze, yeah.
I love that guy.
I do too.
Really good.
I picked him up in fantasy. But this is what happens when you're the rookies on the big stage. First, it's just too bad for them. they'll probably be a good pair. I hope not, but they probably will be in time. But it doesn't work for them. We smack them on Thanksgiving. Following Thursday, we are at home against the Green Bay Packers. What do you think we do there, buddy?
I have a win. So we're from 5-4 to 9-4. We're hot, baby. Let's roll.
I too have a win.
You get the win?
What I have is at 10-3. 10-3 thus far. All right. We move on from Green Bay to the Buffalo Bills. December 15th in Ford Field at 4:25 p.m.
Remember how I said that the Dallas Cowboys were one of the two teams that didn't improve?
Yes.
The Buffalo Bills were the other. Lions win this one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that this is a win. These are games. It was the Bills, not on Thanksgiving, was it? That we played. It was the Bills.
It was Thanksgiving
yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. This is another one. This is another one that's marked on Dan Campbell's calendar. I would not be surprised if there are blood trails back to Buffalo after this game. This is one that Dan wants, and Dan gets what he wants. So Detroit Lions smash those.
That was 2 years ago. And then it was like the weekend after that, I want to say, or maybe before, like it was Jacksonville. One we just started. So that was.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We move on now at Soldier Field. Chicago Bears. Cold, 1 p.m. Eastern. What do you got for us on 3 days before Christmas?
I think the Lions are going to lose this one. I think it's a letdown. I think the outdoors, for whatever reason, was going to screw with them. And it's just, they're the better football team, but they're not going to. There's going to be a couple of games this year where they just don't play to it. My prediction is that this is one of those.
I too.
Where are you at?
I agree. I think this is a loss at Soldier Field. Unfortunately, it just is. It's cold. It's the end of the season. There's probably a couple guys that are out. The Lions don't rest people, but they know, at this point that they've got, I believe 10 wins already. 11 wins by my tally at this point.
You have them at you're at 11-4 after this one. I'm at 10-5.
Yes. 4. Yep. This is 11-4 at this point. And it's okay. It's okay. Okay. So then we move on to San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco for a Monday night game on the 30th of December. What do you have for the Detroit Lions here, my friend?
I have a loss.
Mm.
And part of the reason is I think the 49ers are going to need this game. And they found ways to win. And I do think that they also got better. It's sad when the two, I think the Lions are one of the most improved defenses in the league. I think the 49ers have a chance to also improve what they did on defense last year. They got some good additions. So I got an L here.
Okay.
What about you?
You know the meme with the Grim Reaper going from door to door to door with the little blood trail out of each one?
Yes.
That's Dan Campbell. And this next door is the San Francisco 49ers door, and he's coming in and he's going to murder them again.
Love it.
This is one that's on his calendar after last year. Dan does not do this twice. This is one of those ones, Dan, and this is the one that Dan is going to ramp this team up ahead of the playoffs with as well. We win this one, guys. We don't have to worry about next week. There's nobody can do anything to us. I can hear it, right? This is revenge. This is the playoffs. This is the team we got it. Like I can hear him getting the team fired up because this can lock it all and put it all away. With a 12-win season, the Detroit Lions beat the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's 502 Stadium. All right, last game.
That happen.
Minnesota Vikings at Ford Field to close things out. What do you got?
We win.
Got a win. I'm saying the Lions could rest because they got 12 wins at this point, but they don't because that's not what Campbell does. That's not what this team is. Detroit Lions come in and they win this game as well, ending up 13-4, and it doesn't matter that they split the division games 3-3 because they own the division at 13-4.
I've got them finishing 11-6. And they win the tiebreaker with the Packers, who also finish 11-6 because We got them. That's where I'm at. So I did the little thing. I wrote the coda at the end here.
Yeah,
I have the Packers finishing 11-6, the Bears at 10-7, and the Vikings at 6-11.
Both of these are the types of things that say you can bet the Lions beat the spread on the wins. Take the over on the wins. If you listen,
yes, 10.5.
Yeah.
10.5.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
that very same sports book favors them in 13 of their games.
Yep. 13-5, Adam. But they split the division. Crazy. Or 13-4. Sorry, 13-4. Split the division.
13-4.
Yeah.
You're talking about splitting an atom. I'm like, that's way too complicated for this.
All right. So there's the Detroit Lions schedule, a little early analysis. I've got it written down here. It's saved digitally on
We will do it again
after
the preseason, before the regular season.
Yep.
Because things do change.
Yeah. Because every quarterback in the NFC North will be injured except Jared Goff. It's a whole different monkey to play with there. There we go. This is great. Okay, Adam wants to know, and you get this, Adam, even though we're tired. What's your favorite matchup, Riz?
My favorite one. I like going to the Colts because I think that's a team that a lot of people see as an up and coming, and I think we match up with them well. So I think that's going to be a high visibility win for us. And outside the division, I do like going to Dallas on the chance that we do win that game and get that monkey off of our back, exercise that demon, whatever you need to cliche. Man. That would be great. It would be really redemptive.
I have 3 favorite matchups, but they're all for the same reason. And it's Dallas, and it's San Francisco, and it's Seattle. And it's because they're Dan Campbell hate games. That's exactly
we lost all 3 last year.
Yep. Yeah. Those are Dan Campbell hate games. And those are ones that he's still coughing a bile at night, thinking about, getting angry, trying to pour coffee down on top of it, keep it down. Those are the ones that I want to see the pregame work that Campbell puts in, as well as the post-game win, the locker room celebrations. Those are fantastic games for those opportunities. So love that matchup. The San Fran game in particular just could really set the tone for the playoffs. This is one where you beat San Francisco. These Detroit Lions go into the playoffs with hella confidence. You talk about knocking a monkey off your back. That's straightening things out ahead of hitting that hard stretch. So you take that kind of it's like, I'm going to give you my favorite analogy. It's like the Detroit Red Wings kicking Lemieux's ass and beating the Avalanche heading into the playoffs the first year that they won that Stanley Cup. They shook that last that bad man away, and they took it, and they became a dynasty at that point. That's what I see. That's what I feel that game is. So that's probably my favorite matchup. But I love a Dan Campbell hate game because I love Dan as a motivator. All right. That's it. That's a lot. It's a long show today, buddy. We haven't done one in a little while. So it's been a
little while. So
we're going to try to catch
one. We were able to get together tonight.
Yeah, me too. We're going to try to catch one in next week. There may, keep your eyes open. We'll probably have a player interview in between there as well. Next week, and then the week after is travel week, a lot going on, so we'll probably have that week off, and then we'll get together right away to do another one. So next week, and then a week off, and then we'll be back, and then we'll hit our groove. So don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. For $5 a month on Patreon or more, you get access to the Slack chat, and you have a good time with all the dust, the insider fun, and all the great hang with Ash, hang with Jeff, Brown, Bish, Dr. Liao, and even a little bit of Chris time. Also follow us on Twitter at Jeff Risdon, at Jefe Giuseppe Risdone, and also at DET Lions Podcast. All the show notes, announcements, when we're going, when we're not, all that kind of thing is at DET Lions Podcast. So please follow us there so you know what's going on, when, and how. We're always pants free in those places. Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll What happens when they subscribe, Riz? Say it. Say the thing.
I get to come into your ear holes automatically. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we are your Detroit Lions and Reddit Connection.
You better back the fuck up out my face, goddammit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Don't play with me.
Brad Holmes' favorite podcast.